In 1749, crowds gathered here in London's Green Park to see one of the spectacles of the age, the great firework display from King George II. Fireworks have been growing in popularity over the last 100 years, and this display, to commemorate no less an event than the end of the Austrian War of Succession, was to be no exception. The king had even commissioned a special piece of music from his favourite composer, Frederick Handel. The display caught the attention of one Benjamin Robins, at 20 already a Fellow of the Royal Society, and somebody who tangled with the great Bernoulli, him of the fluid equations, in the pages of the Society's journal, Philosophical Transactions. Having heard about the firework display, he wanted to find out how high rockets could travel, a question of critical military importance. Wasting no time, he turned to the main correspondence medium of the age, the Gentleman's Magazine, and asked for the public's help in monitoring the display and recording the height of the fireworks. Didn't go particularly well. He got one response from a Welshman 138 miles away who didn't see any fireworks, but having seen flashes in the night sky, assumed that it was a tremendous waste of public money. But in asking the public to help, Robins was making an important point. Science doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it involves making simple observations of simple phenomena, and you can do science without being an expert. The fireworks paper wasn't the first in Philtrans to rely on crowdsourced observation. In 1715, Edmund Halley, whose tombstone this is, asked everyone to help him record a total solar eclipse. It's a good job he didn't just rely on his friends and colleagues. He got observations from here at the Royal Observatory Greenwich, but it was cloudy in Oxford, and in Cambridge the professor that was supposed to make the observations was troubled by untimely visitors, made them tea instead of watching the eclipse. Luckily, amateur observers from all across the country came to the rescue, and their measurements helped Halley record the distance to the moon and to the sun. Well, here it is. This is the volume of Philosophical Transactions, number 29, that includes Halley's observations. It's actually quite a long paper, but he notes here that you couldn't behold the eclipse without some sense of horror. But it turned out okay, because here is the table with all of the observations, including one from Flamsteed down at Greenwich. This is the Gentleman's Magazine, the very issue that has Robins appealed for people to watch the fireworks. I have to say, reading it, you realise the instructions are quite complicated. It's not too surprising that no one took part. But today, the web allows millions of people to take part in scientific projects in what we call citizen science. My own encounter with citizen science began with a project called Galaxy Zoo. Galaxy Zoo asks you to inspect images of distant galaxies, each one an immense system of 100 billion stars or so, captured by an automatic survey. But you don't have to be an expert to participate. Galaxy Zoo relies on the human ability for pattern recognition, something that's been honed by evolution over the millennia. Remarkably, Galaxy Zoo volunteers have even discovered new classes of galaxy, capitalising on that other great human ability, the ability to be distracted by anything new or unusual. Just as the printed journal provided scientists with new ways to communicate and to collaborate with each other, so the development of the web has opened up the field for both professional and citizen scientists, allowing them to work together in new ways. As if to prove that you don't have to be a professional to contribute to science, in 2010 a bunch of primary school children from Blackawton in Devon published their own paper in the Royal Society journal Biology Letters. Working together with Royal Society research fellow Bo Lotto, they came up with their own research question about how bees forage amongst coloured flowers, made some observations, designed an experiment and discovered something completely new. And this, I think, is the ideal of citizen science, a community of volunteers working together to chase down their own ideas and then publishing and sharing the results with both professional and amateur scientists. The challenge for all of us is to capture something of the spirit of the early days of the Royal Society, so that everyone can contribute to science, whether you have a degree or just a good idea and some spare time.